Hi, everyone. My name is Brian Terry. I'm a Senior Solution Architect at Amazon Web Services and also a Global Segment Lead for Cloud Management Tool. Today, we're going to be doing the second part of our web series. Today, we're going to be talking about optimizing server management across AWS, hybrid, and other public clouds. I'm joined here by Venkat and John. So I'll let Venkat introduce himself.
Thank you, Brian. Hey, everyone. Thank you for taking the time. Today is a good day. We are doing the second of the three-part podcast series. The title is self-explanatory. We are looking to simplify server management across multiple clouds, and we are happy to build on top of AWS's native tooling, AWS Systems Manager being at the center of the server management solutions we have built. I'll be going into details. So thank you for the time, John.
Yeah, Venkat, thanks. So as Brian said, my name is John Meyer, Partner Solutions Architect for Cloud Management Tools. Means I work closely with Brian, and I'm glad Brian corrected himself and said that this is going to be a conversational podcast there instead of a webinar, because we're not presenting much. We're going to have a good conversation about multi-cloud and day two operations. So I'm going to turn it back over to Brian, who's going to give a quick recap of what we talked about in our first podcast, and then we're going to jump right into it. Don't forget, throw in some questions or comments there into the question area. We'll try to answer those live. If not, we'll get them in a blog post. And stay tuned at the end for our live raffle.
Absolutely. Thank you, John. As John said, we had our first part of this talk last week. It was called Achieve Well-Managed Cloud Operations in Just a Few Clicks. And Venkat walked us through multi-cloud's Day 2 platform. He pretty much showed us around and showed us how in one click you can do very complex things in your AWS account with just one click. So I'm excited today for Venkat to really dive deep and show us how this platform really works and how it can help you, manage your cloud at scale. So I'll turn it over to Venkat and we'll kick this off and get started. Thanks.
Thanks, Brian. So let's jump right in. We have 30 minutes in this podcast, so we probably have now 25 minutes. So I'm going to jump right in. Today, what we're going to discuss about is the importance of having consistent management experience across servers. As organizations move from on-premises to public cloud world, they do have lingering workloads on premises. They have workloads that move to cloud. They're experimenting. Sometimes some teams might also have their servers parked in different clouds. It poses a challenge for system administrators to have a consistent experience. So what we are going to discuss today is how to solve that challenge, right? This is the particular talk we are going to have today. Well-managed servers is Monte Cloud's way of taking on that server management solution. On October 13th, stay tuned. We'll be talking about the well-managed applications aspect. So without much ado, let me jump into the slide that talks about what we mean by common server management challenges that are faced by customers that we've been interacting with. John, Brian, like I said, this is going to be an interactive session. Feel free to jump in. So this slide is going to be a little bit of a challenge slide that we're going to first set us back down so we can talk about how we propose customers can solve it. There are three areas, broad areas we're going to talk about: achieving continuous discovery and helping your organization consistently provision servers. Why that matters? Because comprehensive visibility into server fleet is hard to achieve. Visibility means you can now have cost optimization, security, compliance in place. You can also provision consistently. Standardizing on an agent, that is a hard problem. We run into customers all the time. John and Brian, you guys know this. Customers oftentimes talk about agent proliferation, having different versions of agents running in the servers, third-party agents. Inherently, security and compliance is a challenge. Standardizing on a single agent it's been an elusive goal for a lot of system administration teams until systems manager agent, which came along, and we built on top of SSM, as it's known. SSM as a single agent can solve the problem of managing Windows and Linux workloads across multiple clouds. That's what we built on. So that is one challenge that we've been hearing about and solving. Automating
Venkat,
routine.
real quick.
Yeah.
So I have to jump in there because I think this is interesting. And knowing Brian's background and mine and coming in there, standardizing on a secure agent instead of actually having multiple or different versions of agents. And now you can't do the same thing because this agent's outdated and you have to go update this agent across the whole thing. Brian, I know I've run into it in a previous life. Is that something you've come across with different versions?
Oh, absolutely. We hear from my customers that this is a challenge, just like Venkat talked about, having these multiple agents on your machines. So by them building on top of System Manager Agent and consolidating into one agent, it makes it very easy for you to deploy this in your environment and to keep it updated, and that's one of the issues too.
Yeah, Venkat, you were mentioning SSM and continue on because that's actually the key part here.
That is right, John. We have built our server management features on top of SSM agent. We looked at it and said, what as an AWS native customer, there is a fantastic agent out there. If you're an AWS customer, managing your own agent or a third-party agent is cumbersome, and why do that? SSM agent is secure. It's built on principles of AWS to customer first focus. So building on top of that is what our solution is also doing. So standardizing on the agent is very, very simple through our platform. Again, SSM agent is the one agent that we leverage for all these value proposition.
And then, to expand upon that, why build on top of SSM agent instead of creating your own?
Oh, that is a great question. That's a great question, Brian. See, couple of reasons. One is customer first, right? Customers seldom want to really pay for the agent or deal with the agent. The agent is a means to an end of what they are trying to accomplish. The outcomes for the customers matter way more than who owns the agent. In this particular case, because AWS owns the agent, we know it comes with the AWS level of security, compliance, and the support that AWS brings to the table as a native platform. Building on top of that was very important for us to be able to support customers without having to burden them with the cost that comes with third-party agents. The cost could be the cost of the agent itself or cost of securing the agent. All of that is something that I don't think our customers should be paying for or planning for. They should be focused on the outcomes. So that's the big bet we took on SSM agent.
Wow, very impressive.
Okay, so routine operations is another challenge, right? Customers typically want to automate away tasks. For example, simple tasks like bringing down servers that are not in use and turning them on when you need them. Scheduling that consistent, experience can save a lot of cloud costs. Routine operations such as snapshotting your servers, patching your server, scanning your server for vulnerability. SSM agent again provides a patch management solution on top. So we leverage that. Enforcing desired state. This is a common problem. We see customers struggle with this. Being able to say a particular version of a third-party application has to be present on a server, or being able to say, I can run a compliance report across my entire fleet and tell exactly which version of, for example, a PowerShell that people are using. Those are all hard problems, and particularly, even more harder when your server fleet starts spreading across multiple clouds. Solving that is going to give a lot of time back to our customers. And we solve that problem again, leveraging SSM and State Manager services on that. John, you had a question about desired server state last time we spoke. Happy to jump in if you have some specific ideas to discuss here for our customers.
No, actually, I think your second bullet there on the automation, consistently performing OS patch management, scanning and patching across your entire environment is very key and critical, not only in the public cloud, but also your hybrid type environment. So I'm really interested to get, we're going to finish up here with some of the security and the policies, and then let's just jump right into it, because I want to save some time and make sure that we get into the product, because I have a lot of questions, or at least I want to try to ask a number of them for you.
Sounds good to me. Let's wrap this slide up in number 30 seconds and go into the demo. Improving security, having consistent monitoring, and having audit trace in place. That is another challenge. Delivering remote access to teams that they need it could be a session access or RDP access, previously involved setting up bash and host or VPN or opening up port 3389. Those are all inherently expensive and insecure if you don't know how to configure them, or they are just additional overheads. So solving that has been one of our missions. Again, we are leveraging SSM to do that, and providing a single interface for monitoring critical servers. Could be running on a hybrid server, could be on AWS or GCP, but having one interface to monitor those servers is something that we can solve, which is a challenge. And ultimately, it boils down to full audit trace, right? Are you ready for, as a system administrator, you always have to be ready for audits and know exactly who did what, and you don't want that to be an afterthought. Being able to have that audited by default and automatically is a challenge. And that's the challenge we're also solving with the solution. So I'm happy to jump in the demo while I set that up. Brian, John, feel free. Anything you guys want to add? Happy to go into that. Okay, John, what do you think? Should I jump right in?
Oh yeah. I do want to ask questions, but I know we're limited on time, and I know from our last one we didn't get to all the things we wanted to. So I want to give you some of that time, but we will jump in for periodic questions here and there. So go ahead, continue.
Gotcha. So I'll be covering like three important areas here, right? One is consistent provisioning of servers and consistent discovery, that is giving our customers a continuous visibility into what's going on. That's one broad set of features we spoke about. Task automation, being able to schedule routine tasks and have them consistently run. That's another area we'll talk about. Third was remote access and logging, right? Let me start with consistent provisioning. In Monte Cloud, like we spoke last time, we have a whole bunch of well-architected blueprints. What we've done is we've taken blueprints such as EC2, and we have created templates for them that our customers can easily customize and put guardrails around it. For example, I'm looking at this EC2 Linux instance here. When I click details on this blueprint, what you get to see is, of course, the architecture diagram to simple EC2 instance. What's more important is our customers can come in and create configurations. They can set configurations such as a department that is using EC2 Linux instance for a demo purpose. They can constrain that server to be a certain volume type. They can constrain another department to only provision within a particular VPC with a certain particular subnet. So every one of the configuration of server can be created as a launch configuration in our platform, and those configurations become available to our customers and their downstream departments, which automatically enforces things like tagging policies, the right sizing of servers for the right needs, and constraining things that departments should not be doing. It's very easy to do that in few clicks. Again, consistent provisioning. That's what the blueprints here will help achieve. What happens after we provision? Provisioning could be done by the administrator, could be departmental users, could be done by anybody that seems to have access to your multitude of AWS accounts. That's where our consistent discovery comes into play. I'm going to click the infrastructure node here. What we see here is all resources that are running across about 15 AWS accounts have connected here. They're consistently discovered, and you can view them in the context of, for example, you can click and view them in the context of a VPC. This is one example where you can see, hey, which VPC of mine is running. For example, if I look at this HR dev test VPC, there seems to be 93 resources running. As a customer, you can come in and say what resources are running, which compute instances are running in which VPC. Quickly see that without doing additional work.
Can I have a quick question for you on that one? So we can see the consistency across all of our accounts and really kind of real time there. I'm curious, how is that fitting into your consistent OS patch management and security? How do I have that visibility with that?
That's a great question, right? If you cannot measure what you cannot observe, right? If oftentimes we ask customers when an audit comes into place for patch compliance or any sort of compliance of the servers, how long does it take? The customers say this can take a while because there are different environments, servers running in on-prem versus cloud. They have to talk to 3 different teams to consolidate things. A continuous visibility that's guaranteed is the first step towards getting consistent and quick reporting on compliance issues. That's the first step, right? we take that step to say, hey, you can now come to one place and look at all your servers running across your environments, a single view. For example, as you see here, we are pulling together a view that talks about servers running in AWS, on premises. If we happen to have servers in Azure or GCP, again, pulling them in one place, regardless of the operating system, regardless of the AWS account number and region that you are deploying those resources in or connecting those resources in, bringing that into one view is the first step, John. Then running a report on top of this becomes easier.
That's what I want to say. So I think that's where it's key for me is you've mentioned it a number of times is having that clear, consistent view of all your environments, regardless of their location or where they're being hosted. Now I have this very comprehensive view. Now let's look to see where we are compliant. I can run my reports off of that. And that's really kind of curious what I want to see.
Yeah, sounds good. You're spot on that. Let's talk about a couple of routine operations, which include scanning and patching, and then comes reporting on where things are. It's quite easy in the platform here. Right after you connect an AWS account, we discover the servers, and if the servers are spun off AWS EC2 instances, most of them come pre-baked with SSM agent. If that's not available, it's very easy to install SSM agent. Right after the SSM agent is installed, the server talks back to Monte Cloud, and we're able to discover that. So there is not much work for the customers to do in order to onboard. Let me talk about a little bit of onboarding as well. Bringing on-premises servers into a consistent single view here is another challenge. So we have solved that again, with a few clicks here. I'm going to click this button, activate on-prem. What this does is it provides our customers an ability to connect their on-premises instances with AWS required activation ID and activation code for a desired account and region. They take this code, go to their server, and download this self-service installation kit. This installs the agent, they connect the agent with the code. That's the only thing they need to do for servers running physical and virtual machines running on on-premises infrastructure, because we don't have a keys to that. Once they do this, the same servers that we discover can be managed with the exact consistent experience we have for AWS hosted servers as well. So this is how they will enable hybrid servers. And looking at here, there seems to be at least 2 hybrid servers I'm seeing in the screen that were discovered. They were discovered by this process, right? After this,
that's very interesting. What operating systems does this work with?
Oh, that's a great question. We support all the operating system that SSM agent supports, right? All flavors of Windows Server starting Windows Server 2012, all versions, and then all popular distributions of Linux, CentOS, Ubuntu, Amazon Linux, Ubuntu, RHEL, SUSE Linux. We support all the distributions. We keep up with the SSM agent on this one and across all public and government regions.
So that was actually a really good question there, Brian, and realizing that the SSM agent works not only within AWS, within hybrid cloud. I mean, that's what you're utilizing here. That's where you're able to use it within different environments, correct?
That's spot on, John. Yes, this is what we mean by a single agent, so customers don't have to worry about third-party agents.
That's very interesting, because even on the on-prem instances, as we see in this example, we can see if it's stopped or if it's running, and that's really neat.
Yeah. I just got a note from my team saying, hey, you may want to talk about laptops. Yeah, we would like to talk about it. Windows 10 laptop.
That's okay. That's actually a good point. And this is totally unplanned or scripted, the little pop-ups there, which is actually pretty good. Yeah, you can talk about laptops. I mean, think about it. AWS workspaces, regular laptops. Come on, give us a little bit on that one. We'll talk about it since it was brought up, and then we'll continue on.
Yeah. So because it's Windows operating system or Linux operating system on your laptops, Windows 10 most likely, right? The same agent supports that as well. So which means if you're an administrator who has has need to support both laptops, in a distributed world we live in, bring all of them under the single management, it's easily doable. Same agent, same consistent experience. Not just for server workloads, but also for endpoints like laptops.
What about containers?
Oh, Brian asked,
I
what about containers?
Yeah.
oh, yeah, that's a good question. We manage container hosts at this point. In our roadmap, we're also looking at container, nodes as well. ECS container host is something that we can discover, manage in the same condition experience here at this point.
All right, so Venkat, I'm going to make a suggestion here, and I think our last podcast that we have in this series, we need to make it like 45 minutes because we are already 25 minutes into this thing, and we have one more on the policies, and we have to do the raffle. So everybody that's watching this, about 35 after, we'll do the raffle. Real close to that time will end. I know we're always going 5 minutes over, but this is supposed to be that conversation. Why don't you go ahead, maybe wrap this up, jump into some of the policies that we're going to be talking about, the remediation of those, and let's do the raffle, and we'll suggest, doing 45 minutes next time.
Sounds good. So let me quickly walk through some of the, one-click tasks, if you will, right? I select a server, I can perform routine operations in a few clicks. I can perform operations like scanning the server. For example, I can select this server, like Ubuntu server. I can hit scan. I will get the list of policies I can choose from. I can go from there. It's looking up all the policies now. I'm not going into details here. So scanning, patching, tagging your servers, snapshotting your servers are all one-click operations. Another operation I want to show before I jump off here is remote session access. This is again powered by a sessions manager service. One click, no bastion host. So I am on a Ubuntu server here. Clicking this, it's going to tunnel me into the session, and I can run my scripts there. What is beautiful about sessions manager again here is the code that your user executes on this remote session is fully audited. So when the administrator wants to perform operations such as, let me show all the remote sessions that were performed on this machine, you can see full fidelity logs in one place.
And how quick do those logs, are they visible?
It's in a couple of minutes after you close the session. So historically, the logs are also available.
All right, so I got a suggestion real quick. Go back to the remote login, run a quick command. Let's go do what we do, and let's see if we can come back and see the logs come up there. What do you think?
We can do that. That'll take a couple of minutes. So I would suggest that for a deeper demo.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to share, for me personally, that remote login on one session here, and it really kind of manage the environment it just allows a single view, a single management. So that's really good. I like that.
No worries. As a follow-up, there is a technical blog that we wrote on AWS, management tools dedicated for the sessions access with detailed screenshots and setup. So we'll probably, share that as part of the follow-up for everybody. Yeah. Alrighty. We spoke about, server management, scan, patch operations. We also have some routine operations that we perform. Again, in our case, a whole bunch of, ready-to-use tasks that can be performed. Well, in this particular case, I don't have any tasks, but a whole bunch of routine tasks that can perform, like stop, start, restart, back up a server. Every one of those can be scheduled, including setting up patch compliance tasks, desired state policy tasks. All of that are available for customers to execute without writing any code. That's the key, key aspect here. I do have some reports to show, John, but again, people, I think, get an idea when you run a compliance report.
So quick question on that one. The tasks that I do, can I schedule tasks to be performed periodically?
Yes. So you can do we have a very simple cron builder. You can pick any of the tasks that we have available in the platform, choose that, set a periodic performance, and then set a notification, and decentralize those tasks as well, right? The administrator can pick and choose the available tasks and provide those tasks as readily available to any downstream departments. Based on the department, in some cases, they don't want somebody to restart a server. That task won't even appear for that particular, user downstream. Right.
That's good.
Cool. I think that covers most of we rushed a little bit. We didn't go into details, but that covers most of what I wanted to show. John, Brian, maybe a couple of more questions, then we can move to the raffle.
Yeah. Brian, you have anything?
No. This was awesome to see. I can't wait to see what happens in the next episode.
Yeah, actually, speaking of the next one, since we've got a couple minutes here, I got to mention to everybody that on October 13th, same time, same channel, we are doing another one of delivering well-managed apps with no code approach. All right, I really like Monte Cloud's, I guess their slogan day 2 here being an Amazonian, with day 1, day 2 is the operation. And I think we discussed it last time, like day 0 is migration to it, or thinking about going to the cloud. But this has been really good and informative. There's so much to see here. I would suggest, if you guys have somebody actually dropped in the blog post there that you wrote about it for the session manager. I was going to suggest that. Everybody's reading my mind here. That's really good. Feel free to click on that, read that a little bit here. I really like the application here. I really like the platform. I like the total visibility into it. And I think the blueprints one is always what gets me. Every time you come back to it, I'm like, I know we don't have time to go into it, but that's always a good thing.
Yeah. So John, thanks for the summary. Yeah, this is all about trying to get those customers that are still moving server workloads from on-prem to cloud, providing them an easy, consistent way. And it's also a bridge, if you think about it, right? If you start with Systems Manager Agent on hybrid server, and when the servers actually move from on-prem to AWS, you have, as a system administrator, you have nothing new to do because it's the same agent. Then you're now enabling your teams to move faster to cloud, which means you can get started today where you are when you have servers on-prem. And if one of your teams is experimenting with some server instances in AWS, moving as an IT team, moving forward with a consistent experience helps the rest of the team catch up to it without causing any additional disruption later because it's the same agent. So that's the kind of approach we are recommending to customers, and that's resonating really well because let's face it, with compute changing into compute servers or containers or serverless workloads, the last thing you want is to be burdened with last year's problem. You want to be automating as much as possible, so to enable your teams. This is a reliable, secure, and quick way to do that. And we are super thankful for the partnership with AWS and with all the encouragement that we've been getting on building on top of SSM.